Hello fellow Pokemon fans, I'm Nate, also known as Natendo, and I'm here today with a Pokemon Snap review. Now, if you were like me when you were a kid, you played this game, and you were a little bit skeptical at first, seeing as you're taking pictures of Pokemon as opposed to capturing them and battling them together like we're so used to. Now, what I didn't know at the time was that this game would become one of my all-time favorite games, and unfortunately this game went under the radar of many players. So, I'm here today to unearth this classic and share it with you. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Pokemon Snap took an interesting approach to the catch-em-all phrase that we all know. It came out on June 30th, 1999 in North America. By the year's end, Pokemon Snap sold upwards of 1.5 million copies. This success was thanks to the partnership Nintendo created with Blockbuster. They had these Pokemon Snap printing stations that were pretty cool. You were able to bring in your Pokemon Snap cartridge, hook it up to the machine, and then print out your favorite photos. This is a lot like the Game Boy camera and the Game Boy printer. Blockbuster also held a contest called Take Your Best Shot, in which the person to take the best photo within the game won a trip to Australia. Because, you know, nothing's better than winning a trip to one of the most dangerous places on Earth. You play as the main character Todd Snap, who we're first introduced to in the opening sequence. We see Todd walking in the woods near a river with what we soon realize is a camera. Shortly after, we see some rustling in the grass, and Todd whips out his camera and frantically tries to take pictures of the mysterious Pokemon. Before Todd is able to get a clear shot, the Pokemon flies up into the sky where it disappears out of sight. Thus starts Todd's quest. After entering your name onto the card, we chose Todd to stay canon with the story. You meet Professor Oak. He tells us that the reason why he invited us to his lab is that he wants us to take pictures of Pokemon for his Pikmin report. I mean, why abbreviate Pokemon here if you're just going to spell it out in the same sentence? Anyway, Professor Oak then goes on to tell us about his sweet ride he's got for us, the 01, presumably representing the speed at which this thing moves in the beginning. God, is this thing slow. The 01 is an all-terrain vehicle, which can drive on a simple track, float on water, fly, and even go to space. And trust me, where you'll be going, you're going to need a vehicle that can handle going into caves, volcanoes, and fast-flowing rapids. There are 7 different levels in the game, all with unique Pokemon to take pictures of. Sadly, there are only 63 Pokemon to take pictures of out of the 151 currently known at the time. The 7 courses are the beach, which is the starter level of the game, the tunnel, which reminds me a lot of the rundown power plant in Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, the volcano, which happens to be one of my favorites, the river, the most peaceful and beautiful level, the cave, which honestly is my least favorite, the valley, which has some of the coolest Pokemon in my opinion, and the final level, which I'm going to hold off until the end to talk about. Each level has a distinct look, besides the tunnel and the cave. They're fairly similar, both take place in a cave type level, but they do have a distinctive feel. During the cave, you're flying around, and during the tunnel, you're driving on the ground through what looks like to be a hidden power plant as I mentioned before. To unlock a level, you must either take pictures of enough new Pokemon, or do something specific like throw an apple at a Voltorb, causing it to explode, which opens a path to the volcano. Back when this game came out, internet guides were unheard of, so you really had to rely on your own creative thinking to figure out some of the puzzles or fork up $15 for a guidebook. This is one of the games I had to get a guidebook for. Some of the Pokemon you had to get were so cryptic. How am I supposed to know that this Magikarp at the beginning of the Valley level needs to be hit by a Pester Ball to send it flying close to the end of the level in order to take a picture of Gyarados? Or that you need to take pictures of all 3 Grimers in order to spawn a Grimer close enough to you, then throw 3 Pester Balls at it to make it evolve into a Muck. Some of them were pretty insane, but this is what added replayability to the game. While playing the beach level, you pass by a lot of Pokemon that you cannot take pictures of because you don't have the right item for it. You need apples for Magikarp to jump out of the water, you need a Pester Ball or a Flute to take pictures of Snorlax, and you need a Pester Ball in order to scare Scyther out of the grass, and hit Chansey in order to take a picture of it. You'll find yourself revisiting levels over and over once you find a new item, so you can take a picture of a new Pokemon or get a better shot. Now let's talk about some of the items and upgrades. Apples are used to guide a Pokemon to an area where you'd like them to go. This is great for lining up that perfect shot. You can also use it to hit a Pokemon to get it angry, or knock it into lava to kill it. Just kidding, you need to do this so it evolves into one of the Pokemon you need to take a picture of. It's also great for getting 2 Pokemon in the same shot. The Pester Ball is essentially a ball filled with noxious gas, which either stuns a Pokemon, causes it to reveal itself, or used to just overall piss off the Pokemon. Much like the apple, you can aim where you want to throw it, but unfortunately Pokemon are more likely to run away from it. Remember, they're called Pester Balls for a reason. You'll also unlock the Dash Engine, which basically allows you to speed through a level. This is very useful if you're just missing a single Pokemon and you don't want to have to wait through the entire level. Sometimes it helps to get you into position so you can take a photo at the right time. The Pokeflute is a unique item, which works differently with different Pokemon. Pikachu hates it, so when you play it near Pikachu, he'll start using Thundershock. This is useful for getting higher points on your pictures. If you use the Pokeflute on Snorlax, he'll start dancing. And if you use it on Jinx in the cave level, they'll hatch Articuno from its egg. Speaking of which, among the 53 Pokemon to take pictures of in this game, the 3 legendary birds are here too. On your journey, you'll encounter 3 different eggs. These eggs contain the legendary birds Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. The first one you'll encounter is Moltres, as he's on the volcano level, and you need to actually hit the egg off the track in order to continue through the level. These birds are very difficult to get great pictures of, so you'll need to practice a while before you take a picture worth any substantial amount. As we're on the subject of points, one of my biggest gripes is that it's very difficult to tell what Professor Oak is going to like. I swear I took a fantastic picture of a Pokemon, only to tell me that he liked one that was further away and off-center better. Generally, when trying to take a high point picture, you'll want to make sure the entire Pokemon is in the photo. You'll also want to ensure that it's in the center of the frame. Other factors add to a higher score, like is the Pokemon doing something other than standing there looking confused? For example, a picture of Pikachu standing on a surfboard is worth more than him just standing there doing nothing. Also, having multiple Pokemon of the same type in one photo is worth extra points. Thankfully, the shutter speed is very fast and you're able to rapid fire your photos as needed so you can get that perfect shot. Something I recommend is after you've beaten the game and you want to go back for high scores, focus on only one Pokemon per run. That way you can take the time you need to focus on what you need to get done to get that perfect setup for a fantastic photo. Keep in mind you only get 60 pictures per run, so make each one count. This is also why I recommend focusing on 1 or 2 Pokemon per run. This way you can unleash your button mashing skills in hopes of getting that picture that's just right. Now talking about the actual Pokemon in the game, I was pleasantly surprised to see how nice the models looked. They look very similar to the 3DS's upscaled game models. As a kid, this was the closest I had to a 3D Pokemon adventure, aside from Pokemon Stadium or Hey You Pikachu. Aside from taking pictures of Pokemon, after you encounter Oak at his relaxation house in the Valley Course, he asks you to find signs that are hidden in each level. These signs are just things that look like Pokemon, or supposedly look like Pokemon. Apparently these dots are Mewtwo, but I just don't see it. Some of these signs are pretty creative, like the pincer sign in the tunnel level, or the Kingler on the beach. Once you find all 6 signs, the path to the final map opens, Rainbow Cloud. Rainbow Cloud is home to the Pokemon we saw during the opening of this game, Mew. Mew is a rather pain-in-the-ass Pokemon to take a picture of. This stage is unlike any other. It feels more like a boss battle than a fun-filled romp through Pokemon-filled levels. On Rainbow Cloud, you must throw either apples or Pester Balls at Mew's protective bubble. The reason behind this is that you cannot take a picture of Mew while he's inside his bubble, because it'll just show up as a glowing orb. So you must attack the rarest Pokemon in existence with fruit and noxious gas until he loses his shield. When this happens, you're finally able to take a picture of the fabled Mew. But if you want to get a good picture, you'll have to go one step further by hitting Mew while he's chasing his bubble. You'll have to keep hitting him while he's outside the bubble in order to get him close enough for a shot worth any real points. This might take a few times to complete, as it is hard to hit Mew since he moves so fast. But have patience and you'll have a beautiful picture of Mew before you know it. With the picture of Mew in hand, you exit the portal and speak with Professor Oak, who praises you for being a true photographer. He also states that he has nothing further to teach you, and his research went by so fast thanks to us. Speaking of fast, it only took my friend and I just under 2 hours to take pictures of every Pokemon and beat the game. And as the credits roll, you'll see all your best pictures of Pokemon scroll by the screen. Hey guys, Pokemon Snap was a lot of fun to do a review on. I want to give special thanks to my friend Jason who helped me complete the levels and take pictures of all 53 Pokemon. If you like this review, let me know by commenting in the comment section below and hitting that like button. And And while you're down there, let me know what game you want to see me review next. I do have planned a review for the entire series of Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm currently working on the script for that, so you should be able to see that sometime either this week or next. But for now, I'm going to leave you guys with some awesome music from Pokemon Snap. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next review.